Distracted driving, it's preventable. It's 100% preventable. It's extremely problematic. Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of preventable death for teens. Half of all teens will be involved in a car crash before graduating from high school. In 2019, the number of people dying in crashes involving at least one young driver was 4,356. That's a lot of teens, and that's a lot of families and a lot of people impacted by that. And distractions make it even more difficult and challenging because, teens are inexperienced drivers. They're the most inexperienced driver that we have on our roadway. When they're distracted, it's even more difficult for them to focus on the road, and it increases their crash risk. So that also increases the risk for everybody else sharing the road with our teens. So distraction is a very, very serious issue when it comes to teen drivers. There are a lot of different things, but the top ones, when we really look at it, they're going to be cell phones, passengers, and eating. And distraction from cell phones it's really a crucial safety issue, especially for new drivers, whether they're talking on the phone, that includes hands-free or handheld, texting, using social media, programming the phone, touching a GPS or infotainment center. All of these distractions take the teens' hands off the wheel, eyes off the road, or their mind off the task of driving. Passengers, we do know that when teens have a friend or somebody like a friend in the car with them, not parents, but we're talking about teens and their friends, it's extremely dangerous for our teens. Not a parent, not an adult, but we're talking about a teenager's friends. And again, all three of these are very serious, and all of them increase the crash risk for our teens. The number one influence on our youth is a parent or a caregiver, someone that is in a leader role for that youth. And so who's ever driving needs to drive the way they want that teen to drive. So that means from a very young age, when you have young children in the vehicle with you, the person driving should always be setting the best example. And that includes all of our core basics: buckling up, avoiding distractions and all forms of impaired driving, any substances, fatigue and stress, obeying all road rules, safety rules and regulations, speeding. Children, even very young, understand, they watch, they see, and they learn everything that you do behind the wheel. Our youth emulate, our youth repeat what we do and what we say. So it's so important that we set the best example when we're behind the wheel. There are a lot of different things that you can use. The NSC, the National Safety Council, has a really wonderful free program called Drive at Home. It's for parents and caregivers of new teen drivers. It has so many different resources. A new teen driver deal, that is really good. It sets out the expectations. It's very, very clear for that teen to know what they're allowed to do. It tells those teens what they're agreeing to with their caregiver and their parent. It gives the pointers for parents. A lot of times parents, it's been a long time since they went through driver's ed. They may not remember everything, or they may not be polished up on all those teaching tips, right? So pointers for parents, it's a collection of driving lessons, and they're excellent. They've been done and they've been reviewed by, driving professionals, and they cover crucial driving issues, and they come right to the mailbox for the parents. So it talks about before the teen starts to drive, when they're driving with a permit, when they're, becoming a first new licensed driver. And so even parents just giving these, their youth, parents and caregivers giving 30 minutes of driving practice a week helps that teen become a much better, a much more experienced driver. And Drive at Home makes it so easy for the parents. They don't have to go looking for it, but it's a great resource and a tool that is, again, made available to everybody at no cost. The best thing you can do is monitor, supervise, pay attention, be aware. That is the best thing that you can do to monitor your teen driver. And cell phones are not the only risk to drivers. There's plenty of other distractions inside the vehicle. We're talking about that in-touch screen, there's that infotainment center. So those are some of the technologies that make actually distraction. We think sometimes those touch screens are going to make it easier for us, or voice commands, but they also are a large distraction. A lot of times most youth maybe aren't driving the newest vehicle. But the one thing I can tell you, we know that some of those technologies are really good, whether we talk about, adaptive cruise control, whether we talk about rear view monitoring for you, or noises when you're backing up. Those are all really great. If you, first of all, know how to utilize those features, you know what they do, but you can never abdicate your responsibility. The driver is the most important safety feature of the vehicle. So you can't abdicate your responsibility for turning and looking by using a rear view camera. It's your responsibility to continue use that technology to assist you, but it doesn't replace you as the best feature in that vehicle to stay safe. Put your hands to your eyes, okay? What do you see to the left and right? You don't see as much as you did like this, right? You lose that field of vision. And that's one reason why we have a lot of crashes at intersections, stoplights and intersections, right? It's because when people are distracted, they're losing that field of vision. And so once you disengage from that conversation, it's taking you a while to get back because you're still thinking about that conversation. So you're still not engaged in driving. So anytime that happens, it's going to heighten your risk. Passengers, that's a different story. But when you're truly engaged, your brain cannot multitask like that. It's called switch tasking. And and your field of vision's limited. So it's a risk. So if you're using your phone just for the GPS to be able to help help navigate you, that's one thing. But what I'd say is set it before you start in motion. And so I always say there's no do-overs. There's no do-overs a lot of times when you talk about a crash. And sometimes they're fatal, and sometimes they're serious injuries. And so just remember, distracted driving, if a crash occurs, and most all crashes, 90% of them are driver error. So that means you're in control and you can choose what you do behind the wheel. And the best thing you can do is just simply, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and mind on your task. And that's going to be the best thing that keeps you and everybody else safe. One thing I will tell you, the most effective way to save a life is to be buckled up. Every seat, every time, every person. What I would say is, distraction is 100% preventable. 100% preventable. It's a choice we make. You choose to be safe or you choose not to be safe. You choose to risk other people on the road, right? It is totally 100% your choice. So what I would say is, if you are a parent or a caregiver of a teen, have the best example. Take advantage of any free resources that you possibly can. There are a lot out there. Driveathome.org is one of them. Take advantage of it. Why not? It's free and it's available. And if you can help them on a course for driver safety at a beginning at a very young age, you're going to give them the best gift possible: safety.